we are going to take, there is a lot of information. So I'll be reading through that, and I'll try and skip a few things and make it simpler. But it has a lot of information, so we'll have to go through them. So just absorb what is possible, and what is not, it is okay. So it is a kind of a comprehensive question answers session. And tomorrow also there will be the similar kind of comprehensive question answer session, which takes into account a lot of topics. So we'll try and kind of go through them as fast as possible. So this is, we'll start with Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Sadhu. So we start with Majjhima Nikaya 44, Cūḻavedalla Sutta, the shorter series of questions and answers. Thus have I heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was living in Rajagaha, in the bamboo grove, the squirrel's sanctuary. Then the lay follower Visākha went to the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā, and after paying homage to her, he sat down at one side and asked her. So this lay follower Visākha was the treasurer of the king. So he was a businessman also, and certain places he has mentioned as a treasurer. So if you are a office holder of the king, you are not generally made a monk, because he knows certain state secrets, or the king needs him. But in this case, he actually knew where the gold was buried, actually, literally. So he did not want to kind of abandon his this thing. But there was a relationship between the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā and Visākha. Before she became a nun, they were married. One day, Visākha comes and says to her that I have come, but we cannot stay as husband and wife. We can stay as brother and sister. So because he had become an anagami, the non-returner. So now he says that you have given up lust and aversion at that point of time. So you have no attachment for the married life. So she said that if that is the case, then I also want to become a nun. I want to become a bhikkhuni. So he said, okay, I will allow you to become. When she became a bhikkhuni, she was an Arahant. She became an Arahant. So now Visākha is coming back and asking some questions to Dhammadinnā, but he is paying proper respect as she is a this thing. So he is bowing down and paying respect as it is required. Then he asks the first questions. Lady, identity is said. What is called identity by the Blessed One? So the identity is what we identify with. So the friend Visākha, this is Bhikkhu in Dhammadinnā. Visākha, these 5 aggregates, when affected by clinging, are called identity by the Blessed One. So these are the 5 things which are there, which what we consider as it is called aggregates. Aggregates is kind of putting into brackets. These are the 5 brackets. That is the material form aggregate when affected by clinging. So this is the body which is there. The feeling aggregate when affected by clinging. So when the body is there, feeling is also there. The perception aggregate when affected by clinging. When there is feeling, there is perception. The formations aggregate when affected by clinging. Formations are sankharas, or in this case, we can say the thoughts which are there, or whatever thinking is there. Clinging. So they become aggregate when we cling to it. So some people think I am the body, and then they will beautify them, or they don't want to age. They'll do plastic surgery, whatever, because they think that this body is me. Some think that thoughts are me. So they'll think young thoughts, they'll do whatever is there, and they'll cling onto it. Or they think the feeling is me, or the perception is me. So that is how they cling to it. Then the last is the consciousness aggregate when affected by clinging. So some people think consciousness is me, but consciousness is also dependently originated. When there is I and I form, there is I consciousness arises. When there is sound and ear, the sound consciousness arises. So that is also, but you cannot have an identity around. Some consciousness travels from one space to another space, or say from one life to another life. But it is not permanent. So the mind is there, the chitta is there, is traveling, but it is not permanent. It is an impermanent process which is always traveling. That is what it is. At. So when you are getting attracted, then we create identity around those things. So different philosophy, different point of view, we kind of take up the identity. Saying, good lady, the lay follower Visākha delighted and rejoiced in the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā's word. Then he asked her a further question. Lady, origin of identity is said. What is called the origin of identity? How it originates? Friend Vaishaka, it is craving, which brings renewal of being. So renewal of being means how Purana how we are rebirth. So renewal of being is caused by craving, is accompanied by delight and lust. Delight also and lust. Delights in this and that. Means we delight anything which we find, this or that, anything we can delight in. That is craving for sensual pleasures, craving for being, craving for non-being. This is called the origin of identity by the Blessed One. So now there is craving for non-being is also attachment. So you see that there are a lot of people who do suicide. No, they call it unaliving themselves. So how why do they unalive themselves? Because they have the craving to kind of end this whatever is there. So that is also a desire which is there. To become something is also a desire. I want to become a police officer or a IPS, or I want to become a businessman, or whatever desires are there. Or in the next life I want to be a Brahma or a Indra or something like that. That desire is there. But there is also a desire to not be. But not being desired also is not helpful, because we cannot kind of end this cycle without our understanding. So that is there. And then the sensual pleasures are there. So essential pleasure is eye, ear, nose, tongue, sense, whatever is that is also active. So that is kind of the origin of identity. Then you get into the identifying and becoming something which is me and mine. Ladies, cessation of identity is said. What is called the cessation of identity by the Blessed One? Friend Vaishaka, it is the reminderless fading away and ceasing, the giving up, relinquishing, letting go, rejection of that same craving. This is called the cessation of identity. So this is like reminderless means there is no kind of trace is left in the craving. So all cravings are given as reminderless fading away. Ceasing means it all ends. The giving up means you give up all cravings. Relinquishing means you relinquish all cravings. Letting go, you let go of all cravings. Rejecting of that same craving. That brings the cessation of identity. So when you give up, totally give up the craving, then you have given up all things which are going to come. So that is been given up. Lady, the way leading to the cessation of identity. The way leading to the cessation of identity is said. What is called the way leading to the cessation of identity by the Blessed One? So this is also following the same principle of the Four Noble Truths. One is there. What is identity? Then what is the origin? What is the cessation of identity? What is the way leading to the cessation of identity? This is following the Four Noble Truths formula. Friend Vaishaka, it is said that Noble Eightfold Path, that is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right means efforts, right mindfulness, and right concentration. That is there. Or we can say in the other way is harmonious perspective, harmonious imaging, harmonious communication, harmonious movement of mind. harmonious lifestyle, harmonious practice, harmonious observation, and harmonious collectedness. So that is the kind of the thing which leads us to the cessation of identity. Lady, is that clinging the same as these five aggregates when affected by clinging? Or is the clinging something apart from the five aggregates affected by clinging? So it is asking for the clinging the same thing as the fire. Means is the five aggregates the same thing as clinging? Is the body the same thing as clinging, or it is apart from this thing? So that is a kind of a technical question. Friend Vaishaka, this clinging is neither the same as the five aggregates affected by clinging, nor is clinging something apart from the five aggregates when affected by clinging. So it is saying that you cannot say the clinging is there without the body, or you cannot say the clinging is there just when the body is there. It is saying it is apart from it, and that is it is the desire and lust in regard to the five aggregates. So when you have attachment to these five aggregates, desire and lust, when affected by clinging, that is the clinging there. So when you are attaching yourself to body, attaching yourself to feeling, attaching yourself to perception, attaching yourself to the khandas or the kind of the shankharas or the thoughts or the consciousness, when you attach yourself, you identify with that, then the clinging arises. It is not something which is, if you have body, you have clinging. That is not the case. So in another Arahant, their body is there, feeling is there, perception is there. But what happens is, what is not there over there, there is no clinging is there. So that is how a person can be person, but without any clinging or craving which is there. Lady, how does identity view come to be? Here, friend Vaishakha, an untaught ordinary person is who does not have the teaching of the Buddha, who has no regard for noble ones, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their dhamma, who has no regard for true men, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their dhamma, regards material form as self, or self as possessed of material form. So material form as self means we believe this body is the self, or the body has been possessed by self. Okay, the body has been possessed by self. That is one. Two views are there. Or material form as in self, or self as in material form. So there is a four different types of understanding which is there. Maybe this is it is inside it, or it is possessed by it, or it is something which is exterior which is there. So anything kind of views are there. In the same way, he can think about the feeling, or the perception, or the kind of the thoughts, or the consciousness. All these things they can say make the view which is there, that this is me, or this is possessed by me, or something like that, and have created identity. So there is a very different because this is a little bit um, kind of conceptual. It is difficult to kind of conceptualize because there may be certain uh, groups who may have different point of views. More information has been given in Brahmachala Sutta, as I said, Nikaya first, where more information of the identity or views in general has been given. This is how identity views come to be. And how does identity view not come to be? So when here, friend Vaishaka, a well-taught noble disciple, means who has learned the teaching of the Buddha, who has regard for the noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their dhamma, who has regard for true men and is skilled and disciplined in their dhamma, does not regard material form as said, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or self as in material form. So he does disregards all the kind of possibilities of self being related to form, self related to feeling, self related to perception, self related to thoughts, self related to consciousness. He rejects all those kinds of combination. That is how identity view does not come to be. Then you are not ego identifying with anything which is there. Ready? What is the Noble Eightfold Path? Friend Vaishaka, it is just the same Noble Eightfold Path. That is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Lady, is the Noble Eightfold Path conditioned or unconditioned? Means, is it unconditioned? Means I told you about the pen. Pen is a conditioned thing. This is a conditioned thing because many things have been brought together to make this a reality. So if all these things have been brought together, then only this can come to. That is condition. Is unconditioned is that there is nothing which is being made. So it's an original thing. Lady, friend Vaishaka, the Noble Eightfold Path is conditioned. So they say that this is a conditioned thing. Noble Eightfold Path is also a conditioned thing. But we are as I mentioned, you have to use it skillfully. Whatever is that. Desire is also something which is desire only. But when we are using it in a wholesome manner, then it becomes a direction for us to walk in. It is the address which is there. So we have to have that kind of desire. Only then we can do wholesome things. We cannot say that we have to give up all desires. We have to give up all desires which are not helpful, which are unwholesome. We stay with the wholesome. That is how this is also there. It is condition. Lady, there are these three aggregates included by the Noble Eightfold Path. Or is the Noble Eightfold Path included in the three aggregate? Three aggregate is we talk about Shila, Samadhi, Panya. So that is included in this Noble Eightfold Path. So they say that the three aggregates are not included by the Noble Eightfold Path, friend Vaishaka. But the Noble Eightfold Path is included by the three aggregates. So what it means is that this three Noble Eightfold Path has these things, but it is not the complete thing. It has those three things in this Eightfold Path, but it is not the complete of those things which is there. So the right speech, right action, and right livelihood, these states are included in the aggregate of virtue. Virtue is Shila. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, these states are included in the aggregate of concentration. Right view and right intention, these are included in the aggregate of wisdom. So that we have gone through in the Eightfold Path. Concentration. Lady, what is concentration? What is the basis of concentration? What is the equipment of concentration? What is the development of concentration? We can call it Samadhi also. So because concentration can be a word which can be going into a different direction. We can say collectedness or Samadhi also. So I'll read it with Samadhi. What is Samadhi? What is the basis of Samadhi? What is the equipment of Samadhi? What is the development of Samadhi? So Samadhi is also the jhana system, which we have gone through many times. So it is showing how this jhanic system works. Unification of mind, friend Vaishaka, is collectedness or concentration. So unification of mind is all the mind's energies are put to any task. So it can be any task you are doing. If you are cooking, that can be cooking. If you are reading, it can be reading. If you are working on the computer, it can be working. So just your unification of the mind. Over here we have object of meditation. So if you have metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, whatever is there, we put our mind, all powers are there, which is there coming up. So unification of mind, friend Vaishaka, is concentration. The four foundations of mindfulness are the basis of concentration. So four things which we saw are body, feeling, that mind objects, or dhammas, and then chitta, that is mind. Those four things we are doing in meditation. So when we are sitting in meditation, we are aware of the body. Then we are aware of whatever is arising and passing away. So we are aware of those feelings. We are aware of the thoughts which are coming and going. We are aware of the mind states which are there. So we are all aware of the things when we are doing the meditation. So it's nothing apart from or something special which is there.
What are they? Body, feeling,
A body feeling, this is dhammas or objects, mind objects, and mind.
and mind.
Uh, so certain people just say dhammas is phenomena. But certain people like Bhante Vimalamsi like the thoughts or the mind objects, because that is more practical in our meditation practice. So, but philosophically, they are also, I think dhammas means any kind of phenomena you are aware of. So whatever phenomena is, thoughts are also phenomena. Our pain is also a phenomena. Moods are also phenomena. So everything which is there, you are observing. But anyways, that is what we are doing in our meditation. It's not something unique which is there. The four right kinds of striving. The four right kinds of striving is what? 6 hours. What we are doing. That is, don't allow the unwholesome to come. If unwholesome comes, you remove it, bring up wholesome, and increase the wholesome to the logical conclusion. That is the till the time you are not arahant, you kind of continue with the wholesome. That is the four right strivings or right effort or harmonious practice are the equipment of concentration. The repetition, development, cultivation of these same states is the development of concentration. So repetition is very important. That is the reason there is 6 hours. The last step is what? Repeat. Because we have to repeat again and again and again. We have to repeat it maybe 100 times, maybe 1,000 times, maybe 10,000 times, maybe a lakh times, maybe a billion times, maybe 10 million times. But we have to keep on doing when it is required. So whatever amount is required, we have to have repetition. We have to develop. Development is we have to develop our practice also. We have to refine this 6 hours also. We have to see how it is there. Cultivation is when we are how do we do cultivation? We put a seed, we put fertilizer in it, we put water, we give time for it to grow. That is how we cultivate certain any crops or anything which we cultivate. So that is how we have to cultivate. We have to give it kind of the fertilizer. We have to give it what is required. We have to give it sunlight. We have to give it time, and have patience. That is the ingredient which is not told, but that ingredient is there in any cultivation. We have to have patience. That is it.
Once again, repeat for cultivation what we need.
For cultivation, we need the seed which is required. We need the fertilizer, water, sunlight, and patience.
Like that, we need time.
We need our time. We need patience is required, and the willingness to kind of wait at the time which is there. And when we are cultivating, the crops will come when it will come. Like one doha is there. धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए माली सिंचे 100 गड़ा ऋतु आए फल होए. So what you can put 100 buckets of water, but that would not matter. Only when the season is right, you will get the fruit. So you have to be also ready for the fruits when the time is right. So you have to do repetition, development, cultivation of these same states is the development of concentration through therein. So that is how you develop the concentration. Formations. Lady, how many formations are there? There are these three formations, friend. Bodily formation, verbal formation, and mental formation. So we have talked about those formations. This is also the second after ignorance, formations comes. So bodily, verbal, and mental formations which are there. But lady, what is the bodily formation? What is the verbal formation? What is the mental formation? In breathing and out breathing, friend, Visākha are the bodily formations. So when we are breathing, we are kind of aware of the bodily formations. Thinking and examining thought are the verbal formation. The other word is used is applied thought and sustained thought. So the first initial thought comes, and then you have sustained the thought. That is also or thinking and examining thought. So the two ways of saying that is a verbal formation. Perception and feeling are the mental formation. So whatever is the verbal formation is thinking and examining thought, or the other way is applied thought and sustained thought.
Okay, mental formations.
Mental formations is perception, feeling are the mental formations. Perception and feeling.
Why do you call it formation? Formation what means to form?
Forms. That is everything. Shankara is there. No? Shankara. That is what this is also a Shankara, and this book is also a Shankara. So this also is formed because of the ink, paper, staple, all this get coming together. This book has been formed. So this is a Shankara. So that is formations. They come to form. They are called preparations also in one of the translations. So Sankara is a very difficult concept. What I for me what works is the concept which is there in quantum physics. In quantum physics there is a concept of subatomic things. They go to Planck level. They say Planck level is the undivisible thing which is there. That Planck level which is there is not which is unformed. So that is what which is there, unconditioned state, and the vibrations which is there is considered to be different material. Gold vibrates differently than copper, than steel. So it becomes different things. So that is what I kind of understand. For me, that is more kind of understanding of the unconditioned and conditioned thing. So everything is conditioned, and only thing which is unconditioned, as per the Buddha, is the nibbana, state of nibbana. That is a case where there is no condition which is there. But lady, why is in breathing and out breathing bodily formation? Why are thinking and examining thought, or applied thought and sustained thought the verbal formation? Why are perception and feeling the mental formation? Friend Vaishaka, in breathing and out breathing are bodily. These are states bound up with the body. That is why in breathing and out breathing are the bodily formation. First one applies thought and sustains thought, and subsequently one breaks out into speech. That is why applied thought and sustained thought are verbal formation. So we can say this in other way also. First one thing, there is initial thought, and then there is a sustained thought. So that then there is an examination thought, and subsequently one breaks out into speech. So with thinking and examining also we can apply over here. That is why thinking and examining thought are the verbal formation, because we if we have the thoughts, then only we can speak. So that is how speech works. Perception and feeling are mental. These are states bound up with the mind. That is why perception and feeling are the mental formations. So whenever there is an eye contact, where will the feeling be? In the mind, because there is the ear is there, nose is there, tongue is there, body is there. It will be there. Mind also object mind. The feeling will be in the mind. So mind is like a CPU. It has all the things will come to the mind. Attainment of cessation. Lady, how does the attainment of the cessation, perception, and feeling come to be? So this is the state where before Nibbana there is a cessation, which we went through Majjhima Nikaya 111, where after the 8th jhana he goes into the cessation. So how does that come to be? They are asking. Friend Vaishaka, when a student is attaining the cessation of perception and feeling, it does not occur to him, I shall attain the cessation of perception and feeling, or I am attaining the cessation of perception and feeling, or I have attained the cessation of perception and feeling. But rather, his mind has been previously developed in such a way that it leads him to that state. So his mind has been developed in such a way that it leads him to that state. Has two meaning. Okay, one meaning is that he has practiced. So when we are talking about the 7 factors of awakening, 7 factors of awakening was mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, the concentration, and equanimity. So now this 7 factors, when it becomes in the balance, it means that mind has been previously developed.
What is the difference between tranquility and equanimity?
Tranquility is bodily, equanimity is mental. Tranquility is a kind of comfortable state of the body, where you are not fighting against anything. So one way of explaining that tranquility is you go to a lake which has the same body temperature as your body. You sit in the lake till the water is to the head. How light you will feel lighter in the lake, in the swimming pool also. If you are there, you feel light, and you have no because you are it is the same temperature as your body. You have no discomfort. So you have a feeling of not having a body, but you feel very light. That is the feeling of tranquility. So you would have always means many of us must have experienced this in the meditation. You feel very, very comfortable sitting, like I'm not there. Sometimes people say, "I think I was floating" or something like that. I think there was no floor, something like that. You feel sometimes different will have different experience. So that is the tranquility. So your mind has been developed in such a way that it leads to that state. Or second meaning is, if you have become an anagami or an arahant, then on wish you can go into the cessation state, because that state is very, very calm. So there is a Deepa Ma who was uh, actually a teacher of my, you can say she was a teacher, because she visited US when Bhante Vimalamsi, my teacher, was there, and that time he was a lay person. So she taught them, and she was I think learned in the Mahasi system, and her teacher was Munindra, Anagarika Munindra. Anagarika Munindra also taught Bhante Vimalamsi. So both he had a connection with. So when she came, she used to talk about her going and sitting in cessation. She used to sit in cessation, I think, for up to 6 days in cessation. So then Bhante asked, "Why do you kind of go into cessation?" She said, "There is relief, because there is no contact also. When this background is there sound, we have contact with this, or without any our effort also. This truck is going, we are having contact. When there is any kind of wind is there, our skin contact is there. All this contact is always operating. So when we are in meditation also, we have certain contacts which are happening. But when you go into cessation, there is nothing. So there is a lot of relief which is there, and then there is an energy also which happens when you get up from that. There is a lot of energy, and there is a lot of merit making also which happens when you are there. So if such a person gets up and somebody gives them food, they earn a lot of merit also. So that is one of the reasons they go into cessation. So there is two ways we can see, but what they are saying is, before I go into cessation, I don't know. I am going into cessation, I will not know. I am in cessation, I will not know. I am coming out of cessation, I will not know. But when you come out, you will say, I was in cessation. So then you look back and say, "Oh, I was in cessation, I was not over here." That kind of feeling is the cessation feeling, which is there. And then you have a certain understanding of how the mind is starting. And that is when you are seeing the dependent origination in all steps. And that is how you give up attachments. Then you don't attach to whatever is happening in the mind in the current space. Lady, when a student is attaining the cessation of perception and feeling, which state sees first in him? Bodily formation, verbal formation, or the mental formation? Friend Vaishaka, when a student is attaining cessation of perception and feeling, first verbal formation ceases. So when we are going through the meditation steps also, what happens in second jhana, what happens is thinking and examining stop. So that is verbal, ceasing of the verbal formation. That happens. That is the first step which happens. Then the bodily formation. Then the bodily formation, when it happens, when you are going into arupa jhanas. First arupa jhana, the body formation is not there. So that is the second thing. Then the mental formation. Then mental formation is when you are in cessation. There is no mental activity. Zero mental activity. Even in neither perception or non-perception, there is mental activity or there is no mental activity, you cannot say. You cannot say there is no mental activity. You cannot say there is mental activity. So it's a kind of gray area. But when you go into cessation, there is no mental activity. There is no mental activity at that time. So what happens is verbal, body, and then mind. Lady, how does emergence from the attainment of cessation of perception and feeling come to be? Friend Vaishaka, when a student is emerging from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, it does not occur to him, I shall emerge from the attainment of cessation of perception and feeling, or I am emerging from the attainment of the cessation of perception of feeling, or I have emerged from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, but rather his mind has previously been developed in such a way that it leads him to that state. That means his mind has already been developed, so he will lead. And the second is if he has gone with a wish, with determination, then he has determined how much time he will be there. So he determines I'll be there for half an hour. Then the person is there in cessation for half an hour, then he comes up. Or if he goes without any determination, then how the mind is developed in that sense. So it can be, cessation can be microsecond also. So person can go and come back in microsecond, and he has attained nibbana. So there is a explanation given when Sariputta was fanning the Buddha, and the Buddha was giving a sermon. He was giving a teaching. So when he was giving a teaching, Sariputta realized that Buddha is not even attached to the Dhamma. So he is not even attached to his own teaching. When he realized that, he says that the fan from here to here, it went. That moment he got the awakening. So that is a kind of a micro stroke of a fan. That moment he got awakening. So immediately he gave up his attachments. Emergence means you go into a state where you are having no mental activity, but you will come back, and that is your mental activity starts. So before coming back, you don't know. When the coming back process is happening, you don't know. But after coming back, you know, I have come back. You don't know when you are going, you don't know when you are coming, but after coming, you know that you have went and you are come back also. Both the knowledge is clear when you are coming back. Lady, when a student is emerging from the attainment of cessation on perception and feeling. So I'll read it once again. Lady, when a student is emerging from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, which states arise first in him? Bodily formation, verbal formation, and or the mental formation. Friend Vaishaka, when a student is emerging from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, first the mental formation arises, then the bodily formation, then the verbal formation. So it is on the reverse. So the mind gets activated, then the body, then the verbal. Lady, when a student has emerged from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, how many kinds of contact touch him? So when he comes out, immediately what happens? Friend Vaishaka, when a student has emerged from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, three kinds of contact touch him. Voidness contact, that is shunyata, voidness contact. Signless contact, that is also there is no signs, like you are going to nothingness. And desireless contact, so there is no kind of craving which is there over here. That is kind of the desireless contact is the first three things which happen. Lady, when a student has emerged from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, to what does his mind incline to? What does it lean to? What does it lead? So, where does the mind go after immediately coming out of this wonderful experience? What does the mind do? Friend Vaishaka, when a student has emerged from the attainment of the cessation of perception and feeling, his mind inclines to seclusion, leans to seclusion, lead tends to seclusion. So the mind wants to be alone, wants to be quiet. So your mind becomes very quiet, and you want to kind of just do a meditation, or there certain times you are feeling happy, then you just want to do walking. Your senses become very kind of sharp. You can see colors which are brighter. You hear sounds which you are not hearing. You may hear birds which you previously did not notice. So that your senses also become sharp at that time. Lady, how many kinds of feelings are there? Friend Vaishaka, there are three kinds of feeling: pleasant feeling, painful feeling and neither painful nor pleasant feeling. So I'll just read this. It is a very simple thing, which is just a kind of no kind of doubt should remain in the feeling sector. That's the reason the whole feeling has been explained in a very kind of painful detailing, I can say. But it is very important because there is no ambiguity which is left in any of the subject. Lady, how many kinds of feeling are there? Friend Vaishaka, there are three kinds of feeling: pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neither painful nor pleasant feeling. But, lady, what is pleasant feeling? What is painful feeling? What is neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, whatever is felt bodily, mentally as pleasant and soothing is pleasant feeling. So, whatever by body and feeling you feel pleasant, that is pleasant feeling. Whatever is felt bodily or mentally as painful and hurting is painful feeling. Whatever is felt bodily or mentally as neither soothing nor hurting is neither painful nor pleasant feeling. So it's a neutral kind of feeling which is as is considered to be. Lady, what is pleasant? What is painful in regarding to pleasant feeling? What is painful and what is pleasant in regard to painful feeling? What is pleasant and what is painful in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, pleasant feeling is pleasant when it persists, painful when it changes. So you will feel pleasurable. That is your kind of that is kind of pleasurable. But when it changes, then it becomes painful.
Sometimes pleasant flavor, different types of pleasures are felt.
There are different kind of variations, but it will be like the intensity will be different.
Yes, but they are basically
Pleasant. So if it changes, then it becomes kind of painful. Painful feeling is painful when it persists and pleasant when it changes. So if there is a headache and it goes, then you feel also nice because the headache has gone. But the you are, normally you are not even aware of the head. You are only you are aware of the body part only when it is hurting. If you are not hurting, then you are not worried about the arm or leg or head or eye or ear or anything or your teeth. Only when teeth hurts, then my teeth is hurting, and that is when it is there. So that is how it becomes. But when that teeth ache goes, you feel so good. That is how you have that experience. Neither painful nor pleasant feeling is pleasant when there is knowledge, means awareness is there. Neither painful nor pleasant feeling is pleasant when there is knowledge of it, and painful when there is no knowledge of it. Painful in the sense that it is not useful in that sense. So when you are in fourth jhana, you are in neither painful nor pleasant, but your awareness is there. So that feels a nice feeling. But say you are traveling and then just looking at the things, and then you notice no, two stations have gone by, and you are just zoned out. So there you don't know what has happened. So that was not a useful kind of experience. But there was neither painful nor it was pleasant. You just zoned out, seeing the kind of things pass by. You zoned out, and then you notice, oh, half an hour has gone. So for that half an hour, nothing has happened. So that is the reason it is called painful in that sense, because there is ignorance. Ignorance is not knowing is there in that period. Lady, what underlying tendency underlines pleasant feeling? What underlying tendency underlines painful feeling? What underlying tendency underlines neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, the underlying tendency of lust underlines pleasant feeling. Means if you are having a pleasant feeling, you want more and more. That is the lust. Say if you are eating an ice cream or your favorite food, you want to add more and more of that. So that lust underlies the pleasant feeling. The underlying tendency to aversion underlies the painful feeling. So you don't want, if your pain is that, you don't like it. That is the aversion. The underlying tendency to ignorance underlies neither painful nor pleasant feeling. So not knowing, that we discussed. Lady, does the underlying tendency to lust underline all pleasant feeling? Does the underlying tendency to aversion underline all painful feeling? Does the underlying tendency to ignorance underline all neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, the underlying tendency to lust does not underline all pleasant feeling. Lady, does not underline all painful feeling. The underlying tendency to ignorance does not underline all neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Lady, what should be abandoned in regard to pleasant feeling? What should be abandoned in regard to painful feeling? What should be abandoned in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling? So, what should we let go? Friend Vaishaka, the underlying tendency to lust should be abandoned in regard to pleasant feeling. So, wanting, attachment. The underlying tendency to aversion should be abandoned in regard to painful feeling. So, whatever feeling painful is there, you just let it be, not want it to go. The underlying tendency to ignorance should be abandoned in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Lady, does the underlying tendency to lust have to be abandoned in regard to all pleasant feeling? Does the underlying tendency to aversion have to be abandoned in regard to all painful feeling? Does the underlying tendency to ignorance have to be abandoned in regard to all neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, the underlying tendency to lust does not have to be abandoned in regard to all pleasant feeling. The underlying tendency to aversion does not have to be abandoned in regard to all painful feeling. The underlying tendency to ignorance does not have to be abandoned in regard to all neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Here, friend Vaishaka, quite secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, a student enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thinking and examining thought, with joy, happiness born of seclusion. With that, he abandons lust, and the underlying tendency to lust does not underline it. So, when you are having jhanic pleasures, that is the pleasure where you don't have lust in it. And if you are going into those pleasures, any amount of time you stay in the jhanic states, you don't have to worry. So that sometimes teachers ask you, don't get attached to it. But the basic point is that if you are in jhanic states, there the aversion of lust is not there. So you don't have to be afraid of the jhanic states any amount of time you stay. And Buddha says that if anything you have to get attached to, you get attached to this kind of feeling of jhanic pleasure. So if you are attached to neither perception or non-perception, that is best. So anything you want to attach to in this life, you attach to that thing. Not there is no lust over there in that sense. You don't have to be afraid. So that is the most purest thing which is there. So you don't have to be worried about it. Here a student considers thus: when shall I enter upon and abide in the base that is noble ones? Now enter upon and abide in one who thus generates a longing for the supreme liberations. Grief arises with that longing as condition. With that, he abandons aversion, and the underlying tendency to aversion does not underline that. So, when somebody wants to progress in life, so in the spiritual life, he says, "Oh, this there are people who have become arahants, or the people who have become sutapanna, or people who have become sakdagami, anagami, or arahant, and I want to become like that." So that there is a amount of grief which is there, but in that grief there is no aversion which is there, which is like wanting to attain, but that does not have aversion in that mind state. So not all painful feeling which is there, it's a wholesome thought. Here, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disciplines of joy and grief, a student enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. With that, he abandons ignorance, and the underlying tendency to ignorance does not underline that. So, when you are in fourth jhana and you are in equanimity, there is no ignorance because awareness is there, and that is the state where you don't have to kind of abandon the ignorance. So that is the state of mind which has purity of mindfulness. Counterparts. So counterparts is saying that what are the opposites or what are the pairs. What is counter to one other? Lady, what is the counterpart of pleasant feeling? Friend Vaishaka, painful feeling is the counterpart of pleasant feeling. What is the counterpart of painful feeling? Pleasant feeling is the counterpart of painful feeling. What is the counterpart of neither painful nor pleasant feeling? Ignorance is the counterpart of neither painful nor pleasant feeling. What is the counterpart of ignorance? True knowledge is the counterpart of ignorance. So we had been talking from the start. What is it starts with ignorance and it is true knowledge is what the end of this is. If it starts with not knowing, it's end with knowing. That is what we are doing in the practice is knowing. Knowing what? We are knowing ourselves. What is happening? How the thoughts are coming? How the thoughts are going? How emotions are coming? How it is going? How are we to be intervened in this? How can we change those things? How can we siksar them? Let go. Where we put our energy? Where you should not put our energy? Those are the knowledges which are there. So that is how our knowledge goes.
Once again, repeat that knowledge.
Knowledge is to know whatever is happening in your mind. Okay?
Know whatever, because this is the basic thing we may do to know
What is happening in the mind?
what is happening in the mind.
How thoughts arise in the mind. And mind phenomena, thoughts and mind phenomena, and how we can let them go by siksar. So that is the basic which we are learning. That we know what is happening and how we can let it go.
In this beginning stage, we can do these phases.
Correct.
No?
Correct.
Is it correct?
Correct. So that is will reach to the knowledge. So then he's saying what is counterpart of ignorance? True knowledge is the counterpart of ignorance. What is the counterpart of true knowledge? Deliverance is the counterpart of true knowledge. When we have counterpart is knowledge is there, deliverance. Deliverance is what? Mukti. We also we know all mukti. We don't have to we know the concept of mukti. So that is how what happens. We are freed from all the cravings which are there. That which happens. And what is the counterpart of deliverance? Nibbana is the counterpart of deliverance. So when there is freedom from everything, you attain Nibbana. All kind of attachments, that is.
Mukti and Nibbana, they are different. What even that is mukti from all craving. This is also mukti from all craving.
So there is a state, mind state. So when you are giving up everything, deliverance, then you the state of mind is Nibbana, that is end in Nibbana. And he asked the question again, lady, what is the counterpart of Nibbana? Then he says, friend Vaishaka, you have pushed this line of questioning too far. You were not able to grasp the limits to questions. For the holy life, friend Vaishaka is grounded upon Nibbana, culminates in Nibbana, ends in Nibbana. If you wish, friend Vaishaka, go to the Blessed One and ask him about the meaning of this. As the Blessed One explains it to you, so you should remember. So the end is Nibbana. You cannot say anything is counterpart to Nibbana. So
That is the only unconditional thing.
unconditional thing.
Nibbana.
So there is nothing which we can existence. So there is nothing counterpart to that. So maybe he is asking to kind of test her to see if she knows, or he may be kind of go in the flow. But he was a anagami, so he may be just testing her to see if she has become an arahant or not. So that is maybe a test he was doing. Then the lay follower Vaishaka, having delighted and rejoiced in the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā's words. So he is happy with the answers. He delights and rejoices in Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā's words. Rose from his seat and after paying homage to her, so he pays due respect to her, keeping her on the right, he went to the Blessed One. After paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and told the Blessed One the entire conversation with the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā. When he finished speaking, the Blessed One told him, the Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā is wise. Vaishakha. The Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā has great wisdom. If you had asked me the meaning of this, I would have explained it to you in the same way that Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā has explained it. Such is its meaning, and you should remember it. This is what the Blessed One said, and the lay follower Vaishakha was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So, Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā, as Sariputta is said to be the wisest monk among all the monks. So, Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā is considered to be the wisest nun or the Bhikkhuni among all the Bhikkhunis. So, that is the reason he uses the same words he uses for Sariputta. Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā has great wisdom. Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā is wise. Bhikkhuni Dhammadinnā has great wisdom. That's the same words he used for Sariputta. Yesterday. So that is what this is about. Is that whatever are the questions of the Vaishakha was there. Now one interesting name Vaishakha. So you know that in Punjab there is Rose Singh, and there will be Rose Kaur also. Preeti Singh or Preeti Kaur. So there will be same name for a male and female. Over here, Vaishakha is a male, and one story I gave you, Nikara Mata, that Vaishakha was a female. Yeah. So over here, the name, both the names seem same, but they are a male and a female. They are two different. Vaishakha, by the way, was a Sotapanna at a very young age. But she fell in love with a merchant's son. So she married and had many kids. I don't know exactly. I'm not good with numbers, but I think it is about 14, 15, something like that kids she had. But she passed away as a Sotapanna. But Vaishakha, the merchant, he was a Ranagami, non-returner. So because I think she was kind of attracted to the worldly aspect of it, she kind of stayed as Sotapanna itself. But Vaishakha was very important, Lady Vaishakha. Sometimes she's mentioned as Lady Vaishakha. So Lady Vaishakha was very important in many of the things which happened in the Buddha's life. That is, Migara's Mata's palace is there. Then there are certain monk rules which are there, which was also initiated by the Buddha by her kind of complaining. She went and saw something and said, "Oh, this is not right." And Buddha said, "Okay, I'll put a rule that this should not happen." So she is a very important figure in the Vaishakha, Lady Vaishakha. And I think this Vaishakha is only mentioned in this sutta. So tomorrow there will be a which is a greater series of question and answers. So there will be also many kind of topics which are covered tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow we'll cover many different aspects. There's a lot of things which are there. I'll try to kind of there are certain things which are taking a lot of time. What I'll do is I'll kind of summarize those. In the last the things which are there, there is a lot of repetition is there. I'll try and summarize those things. So any questions are there?
Can you explain mind phenomena?
Mind phenomena is like thoughts, anything which is generated by the mind. So thoughts, feeling is also a thought. In mood are also thoughts. So the feelings, moods, kind of outlooks, views, everything can come into the mind phenomena. In the four foundations of mindfulness, dhammas are there. Dhammas can be very varied. But in meditation, what are we kind of able to kind of grasp? What are we able to grasp is thinking, thoughts, feelings, moods, pain or something like that happens. So all these things are only there.
Also craving, aversion.
Craving, aversion is also thoughts. No? I want it, I don't want it. All are thoughts. So Bhante makes it simple by calling it thoughts. But it is not comprehensive. We are not into study of philosophy, Buddhist philosophy. We are into practical meditation. So we are not going in deep into that. Sometimes Bande has been criticized that he is not, you not using the classical things, but we are not Buddhist study kind of thing. We are about practical. So he's using practical this thing, and it is more useful because we are, if we become too technical, then it can become too much for everybody to kind of grasp. When it's simple, I like his explanations also. Like dukkha is resist. This is truth, and now you are resisting it. That becomes dukkha. So acceptance is the escape from that. So that becomes very. I like it. I don't like it for craving. This is very simple, which is there. So that is how it works. So any questions now?
We don't know in day-by-day life how can we apply all these.
So it is by practice, repetition, cultivation, development. That is how, what they say. No, that is what you have to do. You have to repeat, keep on repeating. You have to read, cultivating a habit which is there. One of the things Bante said was just having a habit of smile can help, because that to smile you have to have mindfulness. And if you are not smiling, you know our mindfulness is not there. Then again you smile, and that kind of you can keep on going with that thing which is there.
And thank you so much. It was, I really understood it so well. And I always understood it. And each time the repetition, so definitely better than but everything is like improv.
We are going through second time. I have taken it in Mahabodhi also.
Okay, thank you.
We did not do it in Pune. We did it in Mahabodhi. No, no, Buddha Pada.
Yeah, good.
Buddha Pada. We took it in Buddha. Okay.
Minimum, how much hours we need to meditation in our daily life?
See, it depends on what is possible. Like one of the things, Bante's one of the students was there. He was working. He was in Russia. He was working in a government office. So what he used to do is he used to get up at 5 o'clock, sit for 3 hours till 8 o'clock, then get ready and go at 9 for his office. Then when he comes back at home at 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock he comes back home. Then at 7:30 he has a lunch with all the family. So he says everybody should be there. Whatever family issues is there, everything on lunch. Sorry, dinner time. Dinner time, everybody will sit and kind of have all these family issues. Then by say 9 o'clock or something like that, he goes to bed. He reads and sleeps by 10. Whatever reading he has to done, he does for 1 hour, and then he goes to bed by 10, and he gets up by 5 o'clock. So he has sleep also, and still does 3 hours of meditation. And on Sundays, Saturdays, Sundays,
Continuous meditation gives more effect.
uh, this what it means is that if you keep it regularly, say regularly half an hour you do, is more important than a weekend you do 4 hours. So weekend, if you do 4 hours, it is more than 3.5 hours, half an hour. But half an hour daily would be more effective rather than having 4 hours meditation in weekend. So that is how you have to see. You can have half an hour every day, and in weekend when you have more time, you sit for a little longer. But the best is you bring something, some aspect of it. I'm getting a call. Should I take it? Just if say if in the daily life you are bringing some aspect of it, like a smile itself, then what will happen is your mindfulness will work, and you will anytime you are not smiling, you recognize, you release, relax, smile again. So if you are doing on computer, you can work on computer and smile, and you will be more mindful. If you are cooking or cleaning, one example Bante gave was there was a lady who was doing washing dishes in a very like smiling, and she was doing very mindfully. She was doing the dishes. Her mind went at very calm, and then she had to sit, and she had a very a profound experience in the meditation. So that is how something like that can happen. Like one lady was there, she was in office, she was smiling and talking and doing all these things, and her mind went calm. When she sat down on the chair and just did a small session, she also has a very good meditation experience. So that is something which can happen when you are just there, or your mind can just go calm. In the daytime, this can happen to me also. Certain times, what happens is my mind can, for no reason, I'm doing something, and my mind goes totally calm. No thought, nothing. If I'm doing, I can continue doing my kind of work, or doing something on the computer. I'm continue doing, but my mind goes. So that can happen. So because I have been six-Ring everything, certain times, sometimes certain things automatically arises. Like one guy was there who was Bhante Vimuktapsi student, was driving a car, and a car cut him. He was a very road rage driver, very angry driver, shouting and everything. And he realized that he did not shout. Then he called Bhante and said, "See, this has happened. Somebody cut me, but I did not shout. I could, as soon as the anger arose, I could six-hour automatically. Not even I could, 6 hours automatically." And he was not this thing. And sister came out, one of the student was driving, and that time, this time also they have this in the hilly regions in Missouri. So they were constructing. There were no good roads or anything. Her car went into a kind of a ditch kind of thing. So the car went into the ditch, and she was able to kind of balance the car and bring it to a stop. And then she figured out how to get out of this mess. And then she came and said to Bhante, "See, I went there, and but I did not panic. I had full clarity." So Bhante said, "This is how equanimity works in life." Where
I
that
think it gives more self-confidence to us.
self confidence is that a person becomes very confident of whatever is. So as soon as that thing happens, then you know it is working. Without your intervention, oh, this mind became very calm. Somebody shouted at me, but I did not shout back. Then you know, okay, this 6 hours is working. So that is how you bring it in daily life. Is bring some aspect of it, at least some smiling, or at least some aspect as anything you're doing, do it as an object of meditation. If I'm reading, then any thought comes up, you six-hour those thoughts and continue reading. That can bringing that into daily life only helps. Okay, then we'll share the merits. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensations. Sadhu.